So for almost 50 years now, I've been out there getting it. And one of the reasons I'm able to do that is because I believe in recovery and in recovery technology. So in order for me to do this, well, I really got to take care of my body. And as you get older, that can be tougher and tougher. But as a former swimmer and at a pretty high level, I was exposed to a lot of recovery technology at the Olympic Training Center. And I have to say there's one piece that I believe in wholeheartedly. And I think whether you are a Olympic level athlete or just a weekend warrior, or perhaps you just struggle with things like restless leg syndrome, well, I'm going to show you some today that I think will be highly useful. So what is this witchcraft, you may ask? Well, it's pretty simple. These are compression boots. Now there's two pair. These are by UBLIVES, and I really like these because they have controls on the side. My former boots, well, they had this whole thing and it was quite cumbersome to bring around, but these things right here are ultra portable and I'm able to take them on all my adventures. They're super easy to use. You just find yourself a nice good chair like this, put these booties on, and you click power. And once you do that, it's time to sit back and let these things inflate. Now, if you're not familiar with this type of technology, well, you may have seen it actually in hospitals. These are designed basically to prevent clots because what they're doing is they're moving your blood around. And that's super important when you are a heart patient, but it's also super important when you're trying to recover. Now, a little bit of story time. I am an avid snowboarder, but I was also an avid ultra runner. Now, if you're not familiar with that, we run in the mountains for 50+ miles, typically overnight, and it can be very taxing on your legs in specific because as you can imagine, you're running up and down mountains, not to mention the training. So I was pretty much training 6 days a week and running a marathon a week in total, anywhere from 7 to 10 miles at a time. And I was really looking for something to help me with my recovery. And these things are the only things that I found that really did help with the pain and got me on the trail a little bit faster. I mentioned, yes, they move the circulation around. What that's going to do is increase the blood flow to your muscles, which is going to help them recover. It's also going to help get out that lactic acid. You may not have heard that term, but that just simply means there's acid that builds up in your muscles, and that's what typically creates a lot of your pain. So by this thing squeezing your blood and moving your muscles and compressing them, it's going to allow them to recover a lot better. Now this, as I mentioned, just isn't for athletes. This is really good for elderly people as well, or anybody that may have problems with their legs. Now, of course, I always say, check with your doctor first to make sure that this is okay for you to do. But these things are my favorite pair of compression boots that I've used so far. So with that, let's talk about a couple of the details that make these unique and why I think you may want to get these. So if you didn't get what's going on, these right here are big airbags. Now they have separate chambers in each one. And this right here comes off very easily. And this is the control module that actually pushes in the air and controls where it goes in those different chambers inside of this big leg airbag. Now, one of the modes that I like to do, it'll push up, which means it inflates from the bottom, moves all of your blood, not all of it, but a lot of it, up to the top of your legs to hit your quads. Big muscles need a lot of attention. Then it will move back down. Again, kind of forcing that blood around, just making sure that we're getting a lot of circulation to your muscles and a lot of oxygen to those muscles so that they can recover. Now you can also separate the sections out via the control panel, which means if I just wanted to focus on, let's say, my calf area, I can have it just focus and inflate on my calf area. And that's really nice in case you have some acute areas that you need to pay attention to. Control module is really neat. It's got a USB-C charger, so really easy to charge, charges really quickly. You turn it on, you can set the amount of pressure. This is really important. Now I use max, but it took me a while to build up to that. So you may not want to put this at its max setting in terms of how much pressure or how intensely it's squeezing your legs. There's also a couple different pre-programmed things, or you can isolate one area of your leg with this control module. This thing, super slick the way they designed it, is just able to attach right here very easily, and it clicks on, and then you're good to go to hit power and do what I was doing in the chair. The beauty of this, as compared to the other model I showed you, well, that was quite bulky and heavy. It also had these rubber tubes, and us using it in the recliner, well, we got one of the rubber tubes caught in the mechanism that closes it, and it created a hole, and that was a whole issue that we really struggled to replace. I ended up just duct taping it. These, you don't have those problems because it connects directly right here onto these little legs. Now remember, you're gonna get 2 of them, 1 for each leg. If you're gonna set it up on this machine and this machine, you're gonna set them up the same way if that's something you want. You just have to hit the power buttons at the same time. What I would like to see is maybe one be the control unit and it talks to this one, speaks to this one, and then it's able to do it at the same time. So that's just a bit of a criticism. These are probably my 3rd or 4th different type, but this by far is hands down my favorite because of that portability. And even if you're gonna travel with something like this, take this off, very simple, and they fold right up. I mean, imagine just tucking that in your bag if you're going to do a race or something like that, or you just need it for therapy. So these can go on travel with you. All these are airplane safe. They have batteries, but the batteries are TSA approved from my understanding. Again, this is UBLIVES, and a great little system if you are interested in taking care of yourself or you have leg problems. This is good for recovery. This is also good for helping to drain things like your lymphatic system. So there's a lot of health benefits, even if you aren't an athlete and maybe you have leg problems or you just get sore every once in a while. These things are a nice addition to your household. I can tell you, I love them. I got my wife addicted to them. She's an avid snowboarder, very active as well. She uses them almost every day, and she is someone that struggles with some restless leg problems, and it seems to help her quite a bit. So I'm always coming down to the basement, trying to get some therapy time, and guess who's sitting there? My lovely, adorable wife. So as I mentioned, this is from a company, UBLIVES. They actually sent it over for my review. The only thing I can say that is a slight dig is that you have to, when you have both of these, they aren't synchronized. So you have to start them at the same time if you kind of want to have any type of synchronization between your 2 legs. So it would be nice maybe in the future if these 2 units communicated with each other and you could just use one of them as the control panel. That would be my only critique. But in terms of how good they feel on the legs, how strong they are in the legs, and the different types of programs that are pre-programmed in here, I think it's just the right amount, and the portability I can't speak more about. So if you're interested, again, this is UBLIVES compression boots. Check them out down below. My name's Hill Phantom, and I'll see you next time.